Hi everybody, I'm Devin and I read books, and this is Devin Read Books, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a book haul of just kind of the collection of the books I picked up in the last couple months. I've been away kind of since old school April ended. We have a lot going on at the bookstore, and then I've just been stressed with studying and trying to building out my programmer portfolio. There's a lot going on. It's fine. We're here to talk about books today. So without further ado, let's get into that. So there's really going to be two main piles, and the second half is going to be all the same type of stuff. Very, very specific. And we'll kind of talk about that when I get there. But first, I picked up the Book of the Three. I was going to call it the Book of the Three because it's the first book in the Chronicles of Prydain, which is where the Black Cauldron comes from. And the Black Cauldron is probably my favorite animated Disney movie ever. But I picked up the first book there. We just happened to have it in kids at the bookstore when I was shelving in that area, and so I had to grab it. This is kind of a really terrifying cover. The Horned King is a lot scarier on this cover than he is in the Disney movie. If you're not familiar with the Disney movie, it kind of starts off with this guy Terran. He's a pig farmer and he's taking care of a pig who can kind of predict and see the future. And this Black Horn guy is using the Black Cauldron to kind of take over the world, build armies. It's pretty typical fantasy. This is ultimately children's fantasy, which I don't have a problem with, but I never read it. It's still exceptionally popular, so I'm really hoping that I really like it. The second book is actually The Black Cauldron, and I kind of want to see how different all of these books are from the Disney movie, because I'm pretty sure the movie takes more from the second and third books than the first one. Don't quote me on that, I don't know for sure, but I'm very excited to dive into this. So that's all I've got that kind of fits children and young readers. The next one was a total impulse buy, but I've been wanting to read the series and I just keep putting it off. But then we got this beautiful edition at the bookstore, and that is Wolfsong, by TJ Klune. So this is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. You can see the moon shivers, but also it has these beautiful sprayed edges. This is the least beautiful side. But then we get into the moon and the trees, and then on the bottom of all places, you get this beautiful forest scene with flowers and mushrooms. I don't know a ton about this series. I know it sounds Twilight-esque with like some Yellowstone vibes, like thriller-ish. Not really thriller. I don't know how well to describe it. There's like a murder and like the pack of werewolves, and they're trying, it's kind of about like their lives and the goings on of Green Creek. It's one of those books that's kind of an amalgamation of different genres, and I'm hoping it really works out. I haven't read anything by TJ Klune. I actually have The House on the Cerulean Sea, but that's it. This was the series that I was most excited for, and I planned on getting the Barnes & Noble hardcovers that come with like bonus chapters, but this was too beautiful to pass up, and I hope they do them for the next 3 books, but we'll see. I am curious though as for why there's a warning right on the back that says it's for adult readers. I hope it's not just like a spicy romance book. Not that I'm like 100% against that. I did like ACOTAR, but I want some fantasy and like drama. So the next is a twofer. We happen to get both of them. So those you guys, actually I don't think I talked about it at all on this channel, but I'm a big dinosaur guy. My nonfiction stacks are on the top of my bookshelves, and one whole stack is just paleontology books. But I've never read these two, and it is Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. I don't know how I never read them. I've read a lot of other Michael Crichton, but I just never sat down and read these. So I was able to get both in mass market paperback. And I would like to get the beautiful Barnes & Noble collectible edition of the book, but we'll see if that happens. I'm very excited to dive into these, probably relatively soon. Currently, I had just finished a series we're going to talk about later, and I'm reading The Hatching by Ezekiel Boone. Seems like a creature feature. I just started it, so I don't know a lot about it. After that, I might dive into this. I'm very much a mood reader, so it's going to kind of depend more on like what I'm feeling in the moment as opposed to like what's new, or even really what content I can make from it right now. So I'm excited to dive into both of these. I know, at least in Jurassic Park, I don't know much about Jurassic World, or Lost World, rather. I know Jurassic Park, the movie, and the books differ a lot on who dies and who lives, and a lot of times how they died and how they lived that situation. So I'm very excited to see kind of how all that works out. I like Michael Crichton. I've read a lot of his other stuff. I just happen to not read these two. The next book is a newer release, I should say, by someone who I didn't realize also did fiction. I don't read a ton of mystery thrillers, though, and that's probably why, but he's got a lot of nonfiction that I want to try, and that is Douglas Preston with his new book, Extinction. I know a lot of his nonfiction is historical. He has another one I really want called Lost Tombs, or something similar to that, and it's about different archaeological expeditions and curses and all that, and it sounds really interesting, but it is nonfiction, so I probably won't talk about it on this channel too much. This book sounds very interesting. It is a mystery thriller, but there is a wildlife reserve park where like ice age animals here in the Colorado Rockies live on a preserve, and then a billionaire's son and his wife are kidnapped and then later found dead on the preserve, and people are trying to figure out what happened there. I feel like it's going to be similar to Jurassic Park, but instead of dinosaurs, it's going to be Ice Age era animals, giant sloths, woolly mammoths. There's a third one, Irish elk, like other extinct animals. So I am very excited to kind of dive into this. I almost started it last night instead of The Hatching, but with Sting coming out, Infestation on Shudder, I'm kind of in a spidery mood. So I wanted to read The Hatching. I don't know if they're like spiders yet. It seems like there's something close, and which isn't really a spoiler. You can kind of tell that from the cover. So I'm excited to kind of get deeper into that and see what's going on. And then I might actually read Extinction. It's definitely on the short list for my next book. All right. And then I got something that is a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but I read a different series in the same genre and I enjoyed it. And then I saw this one and I had to get it. And that is Murder Past Due by Miranda James, the first book in the Cat in the Stacks mysteries. Now, I've peered through several of these books. I don't have the 14th one with the cat dragged in, the other one I have with me. And there's definitely some uncanny valley stuff going on with the cats sometimes. But I like cats. I like stacks of books. So I had to try it. The only other cozy mystery I read was Body and Soul Food by Abby Collette, and I'm pointing because that's where my mass market paperback and the cozy mysteries are, in my library corner here. But this sounds very promising. A famous author of like murders, mysteries, kind of the pride of the town, and then he gets murdered, and his friend kind of looks into it, and this guy Charlie has a giant Maine Coon cat, so there's like a Scooby-Doo vibe going on, and I love me some Scooby-Doo. So this was kind of a just a no-brainer to get it and see if I like it. I might read it next. I am kind of in the mood for some mystery, but I don't know, like, if I just want a full murder mystery, or if I want something that's like horror with a mysterious element, or extinction, or like a creature feature-ish sounding thing with a mystery element. I'm not entirely sure. I usually wait until I'm ready to actually pick that next book and then decide. So hopefully I'll get to this soon. They're pretty quick reads. They're only like 300 pages, and they usually go by pretty quick. They're typically, if you don't read cozy mysteries, the mysteries themselves are actually pretty well done. If you are a mystery reader and you like figuring out what happened based on the clues and stuff, you're probably still going to stay up too late reading them. But there's not always as much like external drama. My legs are asleep as all hell. In terms of like, I'm going to go to James Patterson to describe it. Alex Cross. In all of the Cross books, you get these big glimpses into their personal lives and families, and you get that in cozy mystery, but sometimes they get resolved faster, whereas there are things that happen to Alex Cross's family over several books. So if you haven't tried cozy mysteries, I do recommend giving them a chance. You'll probably find some that you like. I don't have any doubt in my mind. The next two are my Nightworms packages, which I'm pretty behind on reading. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. But these are the newest ones, and that is The Day of the Door by Laurel Hightower. And this was in the Bury Your Secrets box, if I got that right. I don't have the bookmark with me. I keep all my bookmarks in a cup on my desk. I don't know a lot about this. It's about, there were 4 Lasco siblings. They had a horrible night that marked the end of their childhood. And then the oldest brother died. He was just dragged off behind closed doors. And no one kind of knows what happens, except maybe the family. Or at least part of the family. And then the mother promises to reveal what happened, accompanied by a paranormal investigative team. They come together to kind of figure out what happened. It sounds interesting. It's very vague, but I love the cover. Oh my gosh, look at that. This looks incredible. If the next Nightworms book I read will probably be either this, Haunting of Velkwood, or A Botanical Daughter. Yeah, because they're pretty small, and they seem like they'll read pretty fast. I did just read Where the Dead Wait by Allie Wilkes, which was in the February package. January or February. I don't remember. It was one of my early ones. I'm super behind on my Nightworms, guys. I love it. I'm never going to read that subscription, but I'm very behind. And then the other book in the package, the hardcover, was Indian Burial Ground by Nick Medina. And this was not even on my radar to be in the Nightworms package, but I'm very excited. It's been selling like crazy at the bookstore, so I'm probably really gonna like it when I actually sit down and read it. Nick Medina also did Sisters of the Lost Nation, which I know has been very well received on BookTube and bookstores. It's just been a very popular book that a lot of people have really been talking about since it came out. I don't know a lot about this. Noemi Broussard wanted a fresh start, the new boyfriend who treats her right, and she moves back, or plans to move back to the reservation, just like her uncle. But then her boyfriend apparently committed suicide, but the facts don't add up. So it looks like she's kind of looking into that a little bit, and learning about some of the secrets that her uncle kept and the reservation had. So I'm very kind of interesting to kind of see where this falls, and how I like it. The thing with a lot of mystery thrillers is there are a lot of them that could honestly be shelved in horror, and I'm wondering if this is going to fit into that slot there. And vice versa, there are a lot of horror books that could probably fit just in mystery thriller. But I am very excited for this. I would like to say I'm going to do a video where I just get caught up on Nightworms books, but I'm such a mood reader that even though I love horror to death, I don't know if I could just sit and binge, 9, 10 horror books in a row on top of everything else I have going on. I get very ADD with genres. I'll go from horror to young adult fantasy to children's fantasy to adult fantasy to big old space opera sci-fis, like the Weberverse. So I do bounce around a lot. So I'm going to try and get caught up as fast as I can on my Nightworms books. I don't know when that's actually going to be. And then this entire next pile is all the same, and I'm going to give some background on that. So when I was a young child, probably 21 years ago now, in 2003 when I was 8, I was pretty much only obsessed with giant space opera books. Like, that was all I was reading, was the Star Wars New Jedi Order stuff. Yeah, I had caught up to Harry Potter at that point, but Harry Potter was never like my be-all end-all. I read that. A few years later, I was reading Lord of the Rings. Just big, expansive types of books. So this series was not even on my radar. I had no interest at the time. And that series is The Warriors. I then spent the next 20 years being told by other book nerds that this series is darker and a better fantasy series than some high fantasy series that are like now for adults. It just used cats. Well, I splurged and I got these 6 books. I just finished reading all 6 of these yesterday. This will be my next like big video. I'm scripting stuff out now. I'm taking my notes. Excuse me. I need my cats to cooperate for what I have planned, but I'm very excited to dive into this because that explanation is 100% accurate. If you replaced all the cat characters with people, it would be one of the most devastating adult fantasy series you could imagine. It does not shy away from topics. It doesn't shy away from really anything. It's just not particularly graphic descriptions. I don't want to get too in the series because we're going to do a whole video on that. But there are like multiple clans, terrors in the forest. A lot of cats die in just these first 6 books. A lot in ways that I was not prepared for emotionally, and I'm amazed because we'll have like 7-year-old girls buy this book like religiously, and 9-year-old boys. Like, kids love this series. And I kind of beat myself up now over not really putting it on my radar when I was younger, but I had a blast reading all 6 of those. And then this whole next pile is really a whole bunch of stuff that includes the next 6. I don't really know what that's called. The sixlet's not right. That's candy. That's candy. It's definitely candy. I don't know. The next 6 books, all right? The New Prophecy. And then all these side books and comics that kind of wrap up the story of, like, the 3 Musketeers, the main character, and his 2 best buddies from the first series of the Warriors books. I'm definitely going to get through all this and then decide if I want to go even farther, because there's a ton of books. But first, we have Warriors Enter the Clans, which includes some short stories and a bunch of information about the different clans, maps of the forest, the Two Legs place, and then like breakdowns of the warrior code from the books and all of that. And there's another definitive guide I really want to get that's in color, and it's just about all the cats. That one's expensive, and I really want to get it, but there's going to be spoilers in it, and I'm trying to avoid spoilers. It's really hard. And then, like I said, I got the whole 6-book pack of the New Prophecy. I think that's supposed to be gray. Well, maybe it's not Gray Stripe, one of the other cats. It's hard to tell because they do these cute little zooms. But then all the books actually also do the thing I love when books do, where they have this, the reflections on the cellophane. You can still see the artwork on the spines. And then there are 2 super editions, which are bigger books, but usually focusing on specific characters. This one is Firestar's Quest. That's kind of a slight spoiler, but if you read any of the backs of any of the first 6 books, you'll kind of see what's going on there. I don't know a ton about this one other than there's peace, and then he reveals that Star Clan, which is kind of like heaven, been like angel cats, I guess, and they kind of give, it's a lot to get into. We'll get into that later. And he realized they lied to him, and he goes on this big quest to discover a forgotten truth. Graystripe's vow, which is about an elder Graystripe in the end of his life, and Graystripe's probably my favorite character in the whole series. Probably my favorite cat, even though my cat Noodle looks just like Firestar. And then this one is not a super edition, it's a collection of 3 novellas. It's Shadow of the Clans, and this one I got because it focuses on Ravenpaw, the third of the 3 Musketeers, who had to leave the clan. And then the next 2 are just graphic novels. It is Graystripe's adventure, kind of explaining the stuff between Graystripe's vow and his exit from the rest of the series. And then finally, Ravenpaw's Path, which is very similar. It's kind of an explanation of the middle stuff that happens between his dying and joining StarClan and the actual book. That is a slight spoiler. Again, if you pick up any of the books, you'll kind of know what happens. The series is generational, so if you just happen to grab and read the back of a book from one of the later box sets of 6, like Omen of the Stars or something, you're gonna get some spoiler stuff, because it's not all about, it's about the clans more so than like the specific cats. So it's generational. A lot of cats die. Literally, I went to the Warriors website and I read the article, like 10 things you need to know about the Warriors series, and number 3 was cats die a lot, and they do, and it's very devastating. But that's pretty much everything fiction-wise that I've picked up in the last couple months. I had picked up some non-fiction, but I'm gonna leave those out for now. I don't know if I want to like dive too deep into non-fiction on this channel. That's something I might keep for myself. I really shouldn't be buying more books or manga, because as you can see, Dinosaur Sanctuary is here sitting on the shelf above it. I have Frieren sitting because I don't have any room on the shelf. I am working on an unhaul video, but I kind of need to finish going through stuff and pulling stuff off the shelves that I don't think I will ever either read, because I've had it forever and I still haven't, or read again. Something like Last Days by Adam Neville, I really didn't like that much. I thought it was a terrible slog, and it's a 700-page book, so I don't know if I can like sit through all of that a second time after I kind of already know the twist and the payoff, and I didn't think it was worth it. So I need to kind of go through all of my shelves, figure out that, and then kind of reorganize them so I can get everything spined and shelved correctly. On my horror side, I actually have to install some kind of backer to push this front row up, and then a riser so I can have my horror paperbacks kind of all in one spot. And then I have to expand my young adult and young readers, because it's gonna get blown up with Warriors, and I need to expand manga too. Dinosaur Sanctuary Volume 5 comes out in October, I think. I love Dinosaur Sanctuary. It's a really good series right now. And I need to get caught up on Frieren, which is already on like 12 volumes or something. So yeah, I've got stuff I need to unhaul before I buy too much more, since I'm guaranteed my 2 Nightworms books every single month. Oh, and that reminds me of the third thing that is not out yet, but I did buy. I bought a signed copy of Clown in a Cornfield 3 by Adam Caesar, the Church of Friendo. I'm really excited. I really liked Clown in a Cornfield more than I thought I would. I just kind of picked it up on a whim.